Man, our internet's been awful this morning. How are you all? Welcome into the Thursday live stream. We got some interesting stuff, some stuff that I know a lot of people have been questioning and talking about. Some people were in the Discord talking about it. I got a few text messages about it. I don't think any of this is that big of a deal, nor am I surprised by any of it, but we're going to go over in a little detail. I already have some stuff queued up for today, talking about Fender's pre-owned certified program. If that sounds like a car thing to you, I promise it will make sense to you after I say hello to everybody and I show you exactly why that is. Hello, Stan. The sun is shining, guitars are being played, life is good. Keep it positive, everybody. Exactly. I try. And I like Fender guitars. I love Fender guitars. When we did the videos about all the guitars that I have sold, and then the ones that are left, they're all Fender, except for the Sir and the 77. Every other instrument I own outside of the acoustic is a Fender instrument. So it's not that I have some vendetta against the company. I want them to do better. That's all. So when I make those sorts of videos, people take them a certain way, but at the end of the day, I still like them the best. Hey Greg, how's it going? Rubbish Guitar Book, and hello Rafa. I hope all is well with you too. Looks like you got a new microphone. I was scrolling through Instagram this morning, and you have one of those ones where you hold up to your face, and it has the little screen on it. But okay, hold on. This is a bit because selling pre-owned is literally the only way Fender can legally say they sell quality guitars. We'll get to that. I have a lot queued up for this. So, we'll start right with this. We'll get right into it because I know a few people are, when they click on these, they want to get right to the main topic at hand. So we will do that for today. If you could like the video, the stream, I'd appreciate that. And we'll get right into this. So, to begin with, we're going to go right into our browser. First thing we have up is, I'm sure if you logged into Reverb, this is something you would have seen. The Fender Certified Pre-Owned. And yeah, you actually go into the store. It's the first thing that jumped out to me was the pricing isn't even that good. It's really not. A lot of these are prices that you can get new guitars at from like Sweetwater. So to me, that's already kind of a miss. Specifically right now, we load in here, unless it's sold. There was a Vintera. No, it's still there. Okay, so there's a Vintera 60s, right? $979. This guitar is pre-owned. All right. And you'd have to pay tax on it and obviously free shipping. If I went to Sweetwater right now, Vintera to Stratocaster. Now check this out. It's $999, but you get an extra 10% off that $999. Actually, I think it's 10% off of the full retail price. Either way, it's cheaper to buy a new one from Sweetwater, and then you get a 2-year warranty. Not that a warranty really matters to me, but I'm just saying, price-wise, they're already getting smoked here. Now, you could argue, oh, this is a limited time deal. Sure it is. But the 10% off is almost like a regular thing. I feel like it's been 2 or 3 months where Fender have offered this on multiple different products across their entire line outside of some of the really limited runs or some custom shops. Point being, prices aren't exactly things that are going to make you say, oh, I have to buy one of these. This is such a great value. Okay, so I feel like they missed there. Regardless. Now, why? Why would they call this certified pre-owned? Well, you'd have to understand the private equity company that owns Fender, called Servco. Now, Servco has been in business since 1919, and they started off as a car garage in Hawaii. Then they expanded the garage, became dealers for Chevy. We're not going to go through their whole thing here, but the point is, their main business was built off of cars. So somebody in a boardroom probably had the genius idea. This works with Lexus. It works with Infiniti. We'll call them certified pre-owned. All right? Cool. We got it. Now, so we've figured all that out. When we go to the actual information, the press release, so to speak, well, really this is the knowledge base article, but this was basically the press release we all got explaining what this is, how it works, and all of that. What is a certified pre-owned instrument? It basically means, I'm going to paraphrase here, I'm going to skip to the important parts. It is an instrument that has gone through an inspection process to ensure it meets Fender's high standards for quality and playability. And it has to pass an inspection, and then it gets a 1-year warranty. In partnership, this is important, with MIRC. Okay. That's our first clue. Well, to me, I knew exactly what that was. That should be a warning, because that's not Fender. That's an independent company. What is MIRC? Let's go to their website. MIRC is one of the world's biggest remanufacturers and refurbishers of goods that are not made correctly. So the first problem was on the manufacturing side. Since every manufacturer has instruments that do not pass inspection, many of them ended up in a landfill. Now they purchase all of these distressed instruments and refurbish them, giving them a second chance. That's great. The second thing is interesting, and this could be interesting to other small businesses that want to say, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of this too, but maybe not with Fender. Probably have some exclusivity going on here. Many stores struggle to find quality instruments to sell at prices their customers could afford. Now, how do I know what MIRC is? I know what MIRC is. Oh no, your website doesn't even work. We got to go back to Reverb. Because I've bought guitars from MIRC before, and I've recommended guitar from them. Because they're Franklin Guitar Works. Franklin Guitar Works is a subdivision of MIRC. They are the ones that sold the Corey Wong Stratocasters for $11.99. They are the ones that had the Aerodyne Japanese guitars for, I believe, $5.99. JV Modifieds for either $5.99 or $6.99 for the Stratocasters. When I go to their site now, their Fender pricing is a bit more expensive than I remember it. Like, yeah, that one's not right. That's actually it hit a sale price because, yeah, nobody would pay the $800. Again, we just went over all this. But, yeah, these are prices that would fall into line with what you can get a new one for at Sweetwater. So, the deals used to be great. These people made sure that you were getting a quality product. They refurbished. They were priced accordingly. The American Vintage 2 Telecaster I got from them was, I believe, $1,400. So, look now, American Professional 2 Telecaster is more than more than I did, as a matter of fact, pay for the $1,519. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to load up my entire buy history. But if you're really that interested, I could have that. I could get a screenshot of it, and I could show you exactly what I paid from them. So, I think that this Fender deal is kind of impacting them a little bit as far as what they're going to charge. Or maybe in the future, how much inventory they're going to have because Fender have an exclusive deal with them. So that's the long and short of it, but why? We've just uncovered some things. We haven't talked about why they're doing it. Before we get into that, we'll read a little bit more of the comment section. We'll see what's going on. Oh, I saw a retracted message. Can I see it? I hate when people do that. Because I don't care what you guys say. I would read it. You're not going to offend me. You should see some of the comments I get. They're not all nice. You had it for a bit. Oh, you're talking about the microphone. Haven't had the desire to make videos about guitars. I hear you. Doesn't apply to Made in Japan Fender. Whatever you just said, we're going to tie into Japanese Fender because this is where they're stealing their ID from. And actually, in Japan, things are not going great either for the dealers. Jeremy the Guitar Hunter suggested this is just Fender finding a way to sell the cancel orders for big shop. No, he is so surface level. That's not even, no. It's much more than that. We'll get into it in a second. That pricing seems like a real bargain. Not if that's their pricing, wouldn't worry about them. They're not going to. Certified pre-owned instrument owner, me. You bought one of the certified pre-owns? That's good. Scott, how are you? I haven't seen you in here in a while. Hope you're doing well, man. And Bob, is this why they put a new serial number on the back? Yeah. And some of them will say used on them, as a matter of fact. So, somebody just mentioned Fender Japan. Let's talk about Fender Japan. As you know, I import a lot of guitars from Japan. Sorry, I want to make sure I don't spill my dolphin drink. I import a lot of guitars from Fender Japan. I have, over the last decade, in some cases a little bit longer than that, made some great relationships with shops that are dealers for Fender guitars. I know these people by name. We talk by just sometimes we just shoot each other emails, see how we're doing. So it's actually, they're really cool people. Fender Japan, over the last year and a half, have really accelerated something that is negatively impacting the shops. That is absolutely going to happen here once Fender USA figure out that this is a running printing machine, because they're always a little bit slow to this, because the people in charge, the real people in charge, not some of the really great people that do work at Fender, they don't exactly see how easy this money would be. If you go to Fender Japan's website, you will find so many amazing guitars that are online exclusive to Fender Japan's site. For example, I have the Heritage 60s Jazzmaster. Now, any shop that's a dealer for Fender guitars in Japan can get the Heritage 60s Jazzmaster. You can get it in 3-tone sunburst, or you can get it in the transparent white finish. If you go to Fender Japan's website, you can get exclusive colors. You can get custom colors. This year and last year, respectively, you could get black with the matching headstock and an alder body, which is different from mine. Mine has an ash body, or sonic blue. Now, it doesn't just stop there. Going to the mainline guitars, the Hybrid 2 series of guitars, when I first posted the video about the new Hybrid guitars for 2024, we were really excited because there were two finishes that were like amazing, because they are. Larimar and, what was the name of the other one? It starts with a C. I almost called it Celebi. We've been playing a lot of Pokemon in the house. My kid's obsessed. Regardless, those colors, the dealers were informed by Fender they will not even have the opportunity to get one of them. Sometimes they would get lotteries. The aforementioned Heritage models, for the Telecaster versions of them, there was a lottery where certain shops were able to get one of them in stock. And it didn't matter if you were a dealer for 50 years or for 5 years. If you were lucky enough to get one, you got one, you sold it, that's it. The rest went to Fender directly. Why would they do this? It's simple. It's simple. They're trying to transition you to buy directly from them, whether it is new or it is used. And they're enticing you. In Japan, they're doing a much better job than America. They're enticing you to purchase directly by offering things that you can't get at a Fender dealer. If Fender USA were smart, what they would do, I would make custom color Jazzmasters, the 1966s, the American vintage that they already offer, spray some custom colors on it. Put those on the website. Boom, you can only get them here. Not rocket science. You have schmucks like me who want a regular Jaguar, a real Jaguar, made in the USA. You make it dealers, you make it online exclusive. Dealers can't grab it. And all of a sudden, you have cornered the market in that sense, because there's nothing in the dealer agreement that would prevent them from doing that. All they have to dictate is how much inventory they're allowed to buy. So this has very little to do with them being able to, yes, to a certain extent, make use of guitars that either were returns or guitars that didn't pass quality control through Franklin Guitar Works or MIRC. But the bigger picture and the bigger play goes far beyond that. It's cutting everything out. Because if you can buy if Fender can sell a guitar for $1,200 on their site, if Sweetwater sells the same guitar for $1,200, where does Fender make more money? They make more money when you buy it directly from them, because then they're not giving it at a discount to the retailer, who's then going to sell it so that they can make a profit on it, because all these things have room for margin on them. The end goal here is for them to be your place to buy your guitars. The problem is the quality is not always matching up with it. So it'll be a harder sell. Plus the quality of the product and the uniqueness of the product, as I already gave them some free advice on what I would do, isn't there. That's my take on it. Let's see what you guys are saying. I kind of monologued there. I debated making a full video about this on Tuesday morning, but I didn't do it. I said, you know what? We'll just do it in a live stream. We'll save the videos for other stuff. Okay, certifiable, not certified, isn't crazy. Yes, I agree. Looks to be a good thing for the used market because it looks like the pricing for them is still in the high used price range. Yeah, well, 100%. Do you have any... I privated all the videos about buying directly from Japan because shops watch those videos, and shops I used to go to, and I thought I had friendships with those shops. They've exploited it, and now I refuse to give that information out, period, because all it does is ruin the market, and I actually made the market worse when I did that. Those videos are available for members of the channel only. I didn't take them down, but they're not for public viewing. And it sucks because honestly, for the first year and a half of this channel, I made a lot of videos, even with exact emails and people to talk to and all of this stuff. And now on Reverb, the amount of resellers and people that don't know what they're doing, that just buy up this limited inventory, they've ruined it. And they've kind of soured me on a lot of the stuff too. I don't like doing it so much anymore. So I go for used out of production, unless it's really good. Gibson started with only vintage guitars, but officially opened a mod and demo shop. Well, yeah, well, Gibson are smarter. Gibson are much smarter. And I've said this a million times too. Fender is stupid. Rephrasing back again, I can't believe I have to say this. I own more Fender guitars than anybody or than any other brand in this house. I love Fender guitars. They're stupid. Business-wise, they're not smart. If they just copied the mod shop from Gibson, they would crush it. They would crush it. And it's easier for them to do it than it is for Gibson to do it because they're bolt-on guitars. You open up the same sort of shop on Reverb, or if you don't want to put it on Reverb, you put it right on Fender.com, the same way Gibson does. And all these guitars, you throw on custom colored bodies. You don't even have to do anything to the necks. You take the same exact necks. Throw on custom colored bodies. Maybe a different set of pickups, preloaded pick guards. You sell those already. You mix and match them on your own. You already offer a mod shop for people where you can get colors, but some people balk at that. You still price them around where Gibson have theirs relative to new pricing. You're a money printer at that point, especially once you start doing it with the offsets. I don't get it. And then they invest money into things that are uncertainties. I don't want to know how much money they've invested into the Tone Master stuff. Granted, I know it's doing well, but I know the Tone Master Pro has it's not exactly on everybody's board. It's kind of been underwhelming outside of the first week of everybody who has negotiated a deal to work with them, praising the thing to death. Here, let me skip that real quick. You don't see those out in the wild. And you had the Acoustic Sonic debacle. Lord knows how much money that cost them. Like, they keep trying to reinvent the wheel when the formula is right in front of them, and it's an easy formula. They just don't want to do it. They just don't want to do it. Let's just do Parallel Universe series from now on. I'd be cool with that. At least it's interesting. And that's another thing you could throw onto onto a Fender mod shop. You literally offer the Parallel Universe guitars on there. You make one-offs in custom colors. They'll sell so quick. They'll sell so quick. And then you know what you do? You're driving more traffic to your website because people will come in on if you have a set day where you release things or you drop them, if you want to be young, people will be going to your site and that will give you traffic. What you do with that traffic is up to you then. You could lead them in other directions and then sneakily have other promotions going on, but you got to get them to your site to begin with. That's a great way to do it. That's a great way to do it. It's easy. You have all of the materials, all of the tools, all of the ability to do it. But we're doing Fender certified pre-owned. where the prices are worse than buying new from Sweetwater. If you ever want to hire me, Fender, call me. I am not kidding. I would work for you for the right money. I can make you a lot of money too. I'm looking at a Made in Japan hybrid Telecaster, neck pickup P90 or Humbucker, pros and cons. It doesn't. You're gonna sacrifice some balance. Like I had the Bacchus guitar that had P90 in the neck with a single coil in the bridge. I love the bridge, and the in between, with both pickups combined, position was pretty good. The neck pickup, it's such an abrupt transition from the neck P90, and even with it lowered a lot to try to compensate, when you switch back and forth, it's like a stark difference. At that point, I'd rather do something like a Fralin uncovered pickup in the neck and a regular Tele Bridge pickup. I think that works a little bit more if you want a little bit more of that sort of sound for me. But those are really popular. I get why people like them. They're just not for me. It is what it is. The hybrid guitars are all great though. I will search for the video. Hold on. Oh, I've done a lot. I've done a lot with those. Sorry, I'm looking around the microphone if you can't tell. Can't stop thinking about making parts guitars. I have 3 under my belt and want more. Parts guitars are fun. Screw Fender, plenty of other guitars still around. Well, it was funny too because we'll talk a little bit more about Fender, but think about all the outrage against Gibson this week. There's only one company that's out of the big 3 that just seems to just get away with stuff. It's funny how that works. Oh man, still holding out for the Jaguar Acoustasonics, maybe the Mustangs too. I think you'll die waiting for those. Never gonna happen. A Made in Japan black strat. If anybody ever has a specific guitar you're looking for, you can shoot me an email in Japan. I'm more likely to help you that way than just to publicly put all that stuff out there and just watch people profit off of my free information like that and ruin the guitar market on top of it. That'd be great. Hi, Steve. How are you? Multitasking. No worries. I saw you went to Germany, and I know Aaron Short went to Germany as well. Some sort of 42 Street, Gear Street, something like that. I know he performed, though, so kudos to him. If he actually went to Germany, brought his guitar, and he played. He didn't just go to look at all the shiny new objects. I give you kudos, Aaron. I know you don't watch all these, but there's an off chance you're watching today. Okay. But about the Gibson thing, before I lose track of it, if you didn't know, Randall was fired by Gibson. Randall was basically Mesa Boogie himself. And people are all outraged. And it took one YouTuber, content creator, to just make a post about it. And then the gear page went nuts. And all these other people made all these assumptions when none of it was certified. And, you know, I had a few things with that. And this also is going to apply to Fender. The first thing you have to remember is these are huge corporations, right? Huge corporations act in a certain way. You have to know the writing is going to be on the wall when you sell to a huge corporation, or at least you know the implications of what could potentially happen. Now, I don't think what happened or what is reported is necessarily true. Now, this man is almost 80 years old. Okay? He was on the team for what, 3 years at this point? It was a reasonable amount of time. It's not like he sold to Gibson and they fired him within 6 months. He made a little bit. And then that's it. Maybe he's okay with it. Maybe he's just like, you know what? I can retire. I'm almost 80 years old. I've contributed a lot, and he has. He's done awesome stuff. He can just ride off into the sunset, or if he wants, he can work in a less stressful, less corporate demanding environment and maybe build some last little amps for amp designs on his own. More power to him. He doesn't owe anybody anything. Some people are like, he needs to start his new company. He needs to do this. It's like, dude, he needs to relax. He's 80. It's almost 80. Gotta enjoy some of what's left in your life at that point. But with Gibson, yeah, I mean, of course, the penny pinchers and the people there, like, they're gonna have certain opinions on how they want the direction of any of their brands to go, whether it's Epiphone, KRK, Cakewalk, Gibson themselves, Mesa Boogie, etc., etc. So none of it surprises me. I don't think anybody's the bad guy in this. I think they are what they are. I don't know. Exactly. See, I knew Aaron was in here. I knew he was in here. I didn't even need to say it. Playing the gear at the event was a great way to see what I want to talk about in videos. That's great, man. I'm happy to hear that. And I really was. When I saw you actually playing out, all I could think was, like, that's how it should be. Like, if you're already going across the ocean. Or even if you're just somebody in New York and you're going to California for NAMM. That's a decent trip. And it's all music-based anyway. What better way to promote yourself, your own brand, and to just, as a musician, get a different experience. Perform while you're out there. Book a gig. That's so cool. So, my respect to you for that, my friend. You're going back for Guitar Summit. I was gonna go to that, and then this happened. And by this, I mean this move. This was not planned. We thought we were going somewhere else. Very last minute. So I hope you have fun, though. All right. There are so many companies that make great Fender style guitars, but people want the Fender brand name on the headstock. Yeah. That's part of it. I think it's like it's somewhat deeper than that, though, because it's not just that you want a Fender. If I've learned nothing else from doing YouTube, now I buy and sell guitars, but I know a lot of people that don't do it for profit. They just buy and sell guitars because they get bored of things really easy. People will stick with Fender and Gibson because you're going to lose less in the long run on resale. For example, G&L, as a well-known brand, they make some really great stuff. Different style of headstock, some little different tweaks on the designs. And obviously they don't say Fender on them. Those are not guitars you ever want to be selling. Unless you bought them from somebody who was in the position of not wanting to sell it because they knew the used value of those is very low. You have so many boutique builders doing it these days. And then you have parts caster assemblers who then age them, like Rittenhouse guitars, like Nash guitars. And then you have Ricardo's guitars, who are actually building their own S&T and even Mustang style guitars. Pretty cool. Fano makes some guitars that are close to those designs. And then, how many other brands make T and S style guitars? Sir, Tom Anderson. I'm not even touching the low end. I'm talking about only made in America stuff. You have a lot of American options for those style instruments. K-Line. I would be remiss if I didn't mention K-Line. He seems like a really nice guy. So the options are there. It's just some people. Mario Martin as well. I'll mention him. That big F on the headstock or the big G on the headstock goes places. And it's also, those are the guitars that get promoted the most. I'll play some inside baseball with you guys right now. So I've made a video. I've made 2 videos. The first one where I was just like, you know what? I'm done. And you guys watched it. They're not hiding anywhere. Now you're seeing the other side of the room. The only thing that's in its case there is the Gibson, which 2 people have in their cart on reverb. Why do people put things in their cart and they leave it there? You buy it or don't. I don't care. It's just weird to me. Why would you do that? The Gibson is still there, the Les Paul. That's getting sold. If I turn the camera, what I have is what I have. It's the 1 rack of guitars. And then the 2 on the sides of it. So I make the video about that. we sold off a ton of guitars. And I was cool with it. And I felt great. After I filmed that video, within a week, I had 2 companies reach out to me. And this is where being a YouTuber is funny. About wanting to, what's the right word? Collaborate. That's the word. Collaborate on a video to promote a guitar. One of them, it wasn't going to work out. I'm not going to get into who it was or why it was. It just didn't work out. But the other one, from a business standpoint, it makes sense to do it. And this is the problem with YouTube, because it is, like, think about it like this. On YouTube, when I make videos, like this video, by the way, if you're just popping in, appreciate it. Hundreds of you guys rewatching, and you get like 20 likes. That makes me sad. So if I make a month's worth of videos, if I average around anywhere from 80 to 100,000 views in a month, I will get between $300 to $500 on that. Okay? That's for a whole month. And that's pre-tax. If I could get a brand to work with me, and I have the opportunity to keep the guitar, if the guitar is a guitar that is $1,000, $2,000, or even $500, call it $500 just for this one example, right? By doing that demonstration, featuring it for the whatever time is negotiated on, if I don't love it or if I need the pinch for money, I've just made what I make in a month from one deal, because YouTube pays like garbage. I've just doubled what I make on YouTube from taking on that one deal. Can you see why it is tempting for YouTubers, once they have these offers starting to come into them, to want to take them? It's tough. And that kind of takes like the whole, I don't know if it takes anything away from it. It's just, it's literally, you're being paid to market something. That's a job. And if it pays better than what I'm already doing this kind of stuff anyway. So I've done it in the past. Granted, I'm not one of the channels that relies on that stuff, but once in a while, it's hard to say no. So we'll have another one. I said no to one, I said yes to another. Just so you're not shocked by it. But it's an interesting guitar. It's an interesting guitar. I thought it was pretty cool. That was your inside baseball for the day. Now, if only Gibson will hire some first-rate engineers to design amp boards that are quiet and don't burn up, and also not put fans like right on the boards, that would be great. I'm sure Randall is fine. His contract would have included an early termination. No, that was the other thing I said. I don't think Randall is in any sort of trouble. He's good, guys. He's fine. Randall is close to the age as Joe Biden. So is Bernie Sanders. Now, I only mention him because you mentioned a political figure. I don't want to talk about politics. However, I've heard Bernie Sanders speak recently, and he has not lost the ability to speak. So depending on your age, that doesn't necessarily mean you're old and senile. Just some people, it hits them sooner, I guess. Randall is laughing all the way to the bank. Yep, the deals on used gear at GearFest was so good this year. I can't even imagine buying anything else right now. That's awesome. What'd you get? Or what were you looking at? What popped out at you? I'm obviously not there. Didn't go. Any Fender shop, custom shop really worth all the money? Should I save a lifetime for one of those and be done with it? No. I don't think there's a right answer to this. New, I don't think they're worth it. Personally. But that's only because I know that you can find so many great ones used. But it depends on what guitar you want. If you want something very specific, and Fender actually made it, and you don't have to go through the waiting process, and it's not going to get put into their production, I can understand the argument for it. There is a purple custom shop Fender Jaguar that was pretty lightweight. It's a sparkle finish, a little too over the top for me, but I thought it was very nice. Bound fingerboard, all that. It's like $7,000, but it's the only one. So I could see why some people would go for guitars like that, you know. Or if you're into vintage specs and no relicking, and you find one in a custom color that's new old stock that you like, that's very uncommon for Fender. Everything's beaten up to some extent. Why not? But the other thing is, like, the used market, you just look around. Type in Fender Custom Shop Guitar, filter it for actual guitars only, and set your minimum price on Reverb to, say, $1,800. This way you're going to avoid the parts casters that have Fender Custom Shop pickups or whatever accessory they want to try and put Fender Custom Shop in the title. And you'll be surprised at some of the prices of Fender Custom Shops. And I say $1,800 because I saw one, a Fender Stratocaster, that was a custom shop from the mid-1990s that was listed for $1,850 from a shop, not an individual seller. And it had no damage on it, just fretware. You'd be surprised. Yeah, if you find the right one, you're all good. You got a 1998 PRS Custom 22 case clean for $1,500 and Dragon 2 vintage pickups. That's great, man. I like those. The PRSs I like. I like the late 90s ones a lot. I like the early 2000s ones. The Dragon pickups aren't as bad as people thought or say they are. I actually prefer some of the older PRS pickups to the newer ones. Had a little bit more of a raw sound. These ones sound a little too refined for my taste. But that's awesome. Happy to hear that. I like the older Custom 22s, and I love the old CE 22s. Used to be able to get those for $1,000 all day. CE 22 and CE 24s. And those were really much more in line with the core offerings than the current CE 24s. How do I feel about the Yamaha Revstar? Yamaha make fantastic guitars. The Revstar is just not a body style I'm a fan of. I like it better than the SG. I don't love it. Older made Japan Fender Teles and Strats with new good pickups is awesome. Yeah, I might know a guy who does things like that. There's one right behind me. Gear Street was great for talking shop about this stuff. We need to get the gear and the payment. We can't pay bills with gear. The companies at Gear Street seem to get that, which was refreshing. See, Aaron gets it because Aaron also does YouTube. But, like, part of me, I said this in the Discord. I said, I'm going to look like such an idiot because I agreed to do this guitar. Because I just made 2 videos about how I'm selling all this stuff off. I did. I literally just made 2 videos about it. And I don't need anything else. I truly believe that. Except the Jaguar. But I admitted that in the video. And obviously, no, the guitar I'm getting is not a Jaguar because it's not a good one in production. But it made me feel weird. But at the end of the day, why should it? Do I make you feel weird about your job? Like, if somebody's offering you a bonus to do a little bit of, like, extra work or something like that, you would do it. It's not apples to apples, but it is what it is. Guys, I've done this for years. I've been very lucky to have so many people that follow this channel now. At least to me, I'm still amazed by it. And no, we're not as big as, you know, Beato or whatever, right? But that was never the goal. And so the fact that once in a while, if a company's like, do you want to demo a $2,000 guitar? We would love for you to do it. We want your opinion on it. You can keep it. Just promote it. Make sure that you tell us where you can get it. Go over some of the highs. And then, most importantly, and this is a deal breaker because I've turned down guitars more expensive than this on several occasions, I have full creative control. I can say whatever I want. And obviously, people would think, oh, well, why would he say anything bad? These people are, you know, negotiating a deal where he gets to keep X amount guitar just for making a video, which is not as easy as people think it is. Yeah, no, I'm going to be honest either way. That's in my nature. I criticize my own guitars. You know how hard I am on that Jazzmaster? I think it's the best Jazzmaster ever made. production-wise. And if I wasn't an idiot and it took better care of it, and I wasn't playing it by the beach at all those surf gigs, oh man, maybe the neck wouldn't be twisted on it. I just stare at that guitar and think, what if I wasn't a drunk? Probably still be my number one instrument. But the point is, with YouTube, it's just like you're the villain if you do anything with music, or not even just with YouTube, but as a musician, you're the villain if you do anything that is going to financially benefit you. You're a sellout. You're a shill. No, not all of that's true. Some cases, I'm sure it is, but it's not the case for everybody. And we do have to pay bills, believe it or not. You saw the Rolling Stones a few weeks ago. Mick 81, Keith 80, Ronnie 78. Age has nothing to do with it. I doubt some people could keep up with it with those 2 hours. Oh, no, 100%. It's all about how you take care of yourself, man. How you take care of yourself. And the other thing with those guys in particular, they're not taking these extended breaks to lose it. Like, I think about, like, skateboarding, for example. There was a point in surfing. I would do it every day. Every single day. You stop doing it, just like if you stop touring, like because that's muscle memory. That performance that Mick puts on, that's muscle memory. On top of just keeping the fitness up to be able to maintain that level of performance. That's hard work, especially as you get to that age. But because he's not taking years off at a time, he can keep going. And if he does have downtime, he's practicing and maintaining a level of fitness that it's almost like he is performing. And then the adrenaline probably carries him through the rest of it. So if you're just sitting around being a slug, you're not doing anything, yeah, you're not going to be able to keep up 100%. And yeah, you don't ride a skateboard for 5 years. You ride the skateboard again. You're probably not going to be able to do the same amount of tricks. And it's going to hurt when you fall. People say the same thing about cover musicians. To be fair, it's only 3%, so ignore them. Yeah, I agree. Well, a cover musician that does YouTube, that works with PRS, Gibson, Fender, who else are like the really big names? Martin, Taylor. If you hit all three of those boxes, and then you have other sponsors that are outside of them that you mentioned in other videos, like you're like the Antichrist. To the average person, you are the Antichrist. Not to the average person, because the average person likes it. It's the small minority of YouTubers or people that view YouTube and consume it that always got something to say. And I found the people that are the most negative in comments are the ones that are like there's something not right with them. And I don't mean like mentally or like whatever, like they're just not happy. Because happy people don't do that stuff. They just don't. That's why like sometimes it'll be like somebody makes a really bad comment, I just say, thanks. Your comment actually helps me, because when you comment, it's engagement and the algorithm doesn't care if it's positive or negative. Just sad. It's sad. You saw Paul McCartney around 2012. He played for about 3 hours and easily the best show he's ever seen. He was way more lively than the vast majority of young artists I've seen born to perform. Well, that's it. I could go off on a tangent about this, but a lot of the people that are like extremely technically gifted players that are like worshipped in the guitar scene for rock and prog and metal or whatever the genre is called at this point. I can't keep up. You watch them play and it really is like boring. They don't move. They're stagnant. They're stagnant. They're static on stage. It's stare down. It's peek up once in a while, smile. Somebody probably told them like you got to move a little bit, so they move like a little bit. It's like very robotic. And yeah, what they're playing is incredible. Could I ever play like half of that stuff? No, not a chance in hell. It is what it is. But if you're looking at it from somebody viewing a performance, because it's all entertainment, part of going to a live show is to be entertained both with your ears and your eyes. And there's nothing that takes the life out of a live performance for me than watching a whole band staring down at their instruments or standing still. I don't care how good you sound. If I wanted to hear just perfect sound quality, I'd buy your record, because that's going to be your best takes too. And I would just listen to it on my own time and not have to deal with all the people in the venue and the smells and the alcohol and the drunkards. As a comic book collector for over 45 years, I'm smiling ear to ear because of your shirt. My 4 guitars are named after superheroines. Yeah, I used to go to Comic Con every year. I went for almost a decade, every year in a row. At one point, for about 4 years, I lived 9 blocks away from the convention center. It was a super easy walk, too. Walk down the island, go to Petco Park. Once you get to Petco Park, you're going to be able to see it. You pass it, cross over, and you're at San Diego Comic-Con. No driving, no parking, no nonsense. I used to have so much fun at those. Those have changed so much, though. They're not the same as they used to be either. Nothing's the same. Everything's worse than when I was a kid. People say I whine on YouTube. I might as well whine once in a while. Did you see the new Squier Troublemaker Telecaster? I did. I don't have any interest in it. I think it's really great that they made it accessible for people. But when I made the review for the Japanese one, I said, you guys gotta make this in the Mexican line with Rosewood. Because I know Fender USA is not going to do it. I'm sure they're going to sell great. And I know Fender's bread and butter is Squier right now. And that's where all their cool ideas go. I'm over it. I'm over it. It's not going to replace anything I have. So for me personally, I don't have any interest in it. But they're very, very good looking guitars, and I've always loved the Troublemaker and the Cabronita designs. Apart from Oasis, they don't need to move. Yeah, Oasis could do whatever they want. They have attitude. One day they'll perform together, I promise. How do I tone down your gas? You uninstall YouTube off your phone. You uninstall Reverb off your phone. And instead, and you get rid of Spotify, but go to a record store. I really recommend everybody gets a record player. I really do mean that. Not for any like fidelity reasons, but because you can do fun stuff like this, right? You find a thrift store or a record store. You just buy some random stuff. You can get some great records for a few bucks. You go home, you turn on those records. Even if it's not like a band you've ever heard of, even if it's not the genre you would necessarily buy them in, you listen to those records. You absorb it. It's new music to you. And you can take things away from it. Then you're going to become obsessed with that. And you're just going to be like, whoa, and you're going to be finding new music. And then instead of searching out new gear, you're going to be searching out new music. You're going to be supporting artists by doing that. And then you might find a band you really like, and all of a sudden you're going to their site and you're buying all their entire discography, right? That's a positive thing. That's great. And also it's inspiring you as a musician, and maybe you hear something and you're like, I never thought of that. I never thought I would hear that in this genre, but this totally works for what I would want to play. And then you break down how it could work for you, and then you transform it. That's how you turn down gas. You surround yourself with music. The other way of doing it is to just go see a bunch of live shows. Very viable. Both work though. Some people are a little less social, prefer to just buy the records, do it in the comfort of their own home. Other people, mix of both. And some people, they live to see live shows. No right or wrong answer with any of them. The most important thing is, though, just take in new music. Take in new music. And buy physical copies of it. Push-pull coil split? Wait. Oh, yeah. I was confused what you were talking about. The Troublemakers. Those were on the Japanese ones too, and on the American ones. Actually, I liked it on the American one. I did not like it so much in the Japanese one. I think there were the D-tap pickups that came in the Troublemaker 2 that I had. When I did the first playthrough of that guitar, I was shocked at how good those sounded. I did that through the Friedman Pink Taco. That was a great amp. And it cleaned up so well, and it was very believable. One of the best splitting humbucker sounds I've ever heard. Much better than PRS. It didn't sound like weak. Like you notice, like sometimes when you're playing a humbucker and it has the split coils, when you split the coils, like the volume drops like way too low. It's always going to drop, but it's like it's a substantial drop. Like you could, in a practical situation, you can't switch between the two of them, not without pedal dancing. With the Troublemaker, I didn't have to do that. Here I am giving Fender credit where credit is due after I, you know, we talked about them earlier. Don't need to go all over it. They're mad for it. What is my practice routine like? I play basically as hard as I can with funk for the first 5 minutes. And what I mean is I get my motor going. So, for example, I'm not going to do it like in its entirety, but I pick out a chord and I get into a groove with it. Now I'll do that with the metronome at a little bit of a higher speed as I go along, and that's really just to get my right hand warmed up. After I do that, I stretch big time, 5 to 10 minutes. Now I've got my motor warmed up and I'm all stretched out, and it all depends what I want to do or focus on that day. If it's theory stuff, I mix in basic chord progressions with the arpeggios, and I'll try to match up and just write down in advance what I want to target. So, for example, like, you know, if you want to land on the third and I'm in a G, what note am I going to be landing on? You should know this. Please know this. It's a B. So then when I'm on the G and I want to aim for the B there, I'm making a mental note in my head in advance. It's like, all right, I need to find a way to resolve to the B here. And then try and get creative with ways around doing that. After I do a little bit of that kind of weird stuff, because brain games are a good way to keep things fresh, and doing that, especially writing the stuff down, helps me out a lot. I run through songs. After that, I do a cool down, stretch again, and put the guitar away. But some days, like, I'll swap out the getting the whole hand warmed up. Recently, I've been doing a lot of tremolo picking exercises to get that back up to where it needs to be, because it's not where it was. And just run through a metronome. And if something seems easy to you at first at a given tempo or BPM, just keep going and maintain that for 2 minutes. You're going to feel it, and that's when you know it's working. Then you stop, you stretch, keep going. It's fun stuff. You saw the same tour? That's great. I love Oasis. We'll definitely maybe see them. That's a terrible pun. Noel has a Nash guitar. He's not a slave for the headstock. No, and he's he's such a funny guy to listen to. I could listen to that guy talk all day. He whines. He does whine, but he whines in such an endearing and spiteful British way that I can't help but love him. Can't help but love him. Okay, what Jaguar version has the best humbuckers? No Jaguar should have humbuckers. That's my take on that. You don't need them. None of them. I really mean it, and that's not to say that they don't work for some people, but for me, I have no experience with any of the newer ones that come with humbuckers because they're not my thing. A humbucker and a Jaguar kind of defeats the purpose, because you're already sacrificing a little bit of the sustain with the short scale. So it's just like counterproductive. Like you're forcing a Honda Civic to tow something. That's not right. Well, really a better analogy, because I don't mean to make it sound like a Jaguar is a Civic. Like an old RX-7, like an FD, one of the mid-90s ones, the good ones. Making that into a tow truck. Why would you do that? It's not meant for that. It's meant to take on corners. You want to take on a tow truck, you want to tow a load, you buy a truck. Different tools for different tasks. Same thing with guitars. However, I think you'd be surprised. Single coils in a Jaguar, you get the right Jaguar, man. They sound mean. A lot of the gain that I used that was pretty aggressive through the rocker verb on the album that you guys are going to be hearing on. It's either 2 or 2.5 weeks. The announcement for that should be Monday. Yeah, but that whole album's getting posted to YouTube. The majority of that was done with a Fender Jaguar that was made in Japan through an orange rocker verb. 4x12. It's a big boy. And that was, I was playing with a bunch of gain. And it sounded big. Because once you're in a studio, it's a lot different. The kind of tones you need to dial in to get it to sit in the mix. But point remains, like, they don't need humbuckers. I think it's so dumb. I think it's so dumb that people just look at Kurt Cobain and think, like, I have to put humbuckers in it because he did. No, you don't have to do that. Same thing with Mustangs. Dude, I challenge you to, I don't challenge you. I would recommend, though. There's a video I made 2 years ago, I think, it was how Fender Japan became obsessed with the Mustang. At the end of that video, I play a stock Japanese Fender Mustang from I think it was 1985. With gain, that thing sounded freaking like vicious. There's no feedback. There is no there's 60 cycle hum, but that's to be expected. But it sounded mean. It sounded big. It sounded awesome. Sounded great. I still think about that. I was like, damn. I'll watch a video like that and I'm like, man. Or I'll film a video like that and I'm like, man, these are so underrated. And the Mustang's actually a little bit better for higher output in general. Higher output sounds, which is weird because they have lower output pickups. Anyway. Record yourself practicing. Oh, yeah. I like I have Pro Tools running all the time. And the other thing is, I have the benefit of, filming myself play guitar a lot. So I have to rewatch myself play guitar a lot. I pick up on a lot of bad habits I have. Or I pick up on a good habit or a good idea I have. So I get the benefit of not just whatever, it's for YouTube. Unless I've just, playing a riff I've played 1,000 times before. I can really see things I'm doing wrong or things that, like, physically I'm doing wrong. Like, if my posture is bad, I notice that. Or if I'm tensing up, I'll be like, oh, I was tense there. And then I'll remember the exercise because I could hear what I was playing, why I was getting tense. And then the next time I'm doing something like that, I make it a point to remember, like, all right, loosen your jaw, get rid of the tension in your wrist, just do the same exact thing and release it. And getting rid of tension helps you so much when you're playing guitar. So yeah, no, I second Rummy's advice. Whether you record yourself playing in the style that I just did, or you just want to freeform play and just record and watch back after, it's not going to be as effective as recording straight into Pro Tools or Luna or Logic or whatever it is to a click track. Because recording to a click track, that's really going to tell you the important stuff. It is. Can't play in time, you can't play a song. Don't forget that. All right. How do you feel about 5-way switching on a 2-pickup Tele? I'm a simple man. I didn't even like the 4-way. I just like the 3 positions on a Telecaster. Bridge, both pickups, neck. Doesn't need anything else. I feel like the series one, it gets like really barky, and it provides a tone that doesn't cut at all. Like, it'll sound big by itself, and with, like, through a Marshall or a Friedman, you might be like, oh, this is so fun. But, like, you play with other instruments, that sound's getting lost. You're getting lost in that mix. It's not a great sound. Not to me. You open the Vortex. But everyone's different. Some people like to mod things. Some people like to keep things the same. Some people, we're all out our own stuff. Thinking of doing that. All right, cool. You'll grab your Jaguar Gretch sometimes for the short scale feature itself, where are big stretches involved in the song as opposed to the full scale. Yeah, I understand that 100%. I'm the same way. What up, Fat Sea Turtle? I love your name. I love Sea Turtle. Oh man, looking for mods to make on my guitars to cure my gas. Don't no. Just play your guitars. Just play your guitars. You can do it. I'm telling you, it's the best way to cure the gas. Get rid of all this crap. Take the distractions out of here. I just want this Les Paul to sell, the two Strats to sell. I'm just gonna delete it off my phone. I'm not gonna look at it anymore. The Benson preamp sold late last night. I gotta ship that out after I take some captures with it with my quad Cortex. I always thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, no, I mean, just go buy music. Go support some bands. Go find a new band. That's where it's at. That's what it's all about. Skip. All right, let's wrap up for today. Let's go here. You guys are still talking about all sorts of stuff as far as modding modifications. All right. Yeah, you guys want to tinker and you want to do it, by all means, knock yourself out. There have been many a day where I've wasted the entire day modifying guitars that did not need to be modified. I'm not saying don't do it, but I prefer on tellies especially, keep it simple. Although, wouldn't it be funny if I got a Johnny Marr Jaguar and I fixed it? If I turned it into a traditional Jaguar? It's too bad it's so expensive to make that video, because I would anger a lot of people. But it would be really good educational. I'd have all the wiring diagrams up, so I'd explain to people how to do it with the Jaguars and how they get the Johnny Marr to work, and then how a real Jaguar is wired. And then really harping on the points of grounding, making sure that your grounding is extremely good. Because so many people complain that Jaguars squeal so much. They squeal so much. Oh, you put on like even a little bit of gain, it squeals. Well, the metal claw might be a little bit loose, or your guitar just might not be set up for grounding. You have a classic vibe, trust me, that is not grounded anywhere near optimally. That's going to squeal. If you look at the inside of an American vintage Jazzmaster or Jaguar versus the inside of a Squier Classic Vibe or a Fender Player, or even the Japanese ones, they're very different. They're very different. Grounding is very different between all of them. So, makes a huge difference. You'd be surprised. You get a Jaguar to sound huge. Worked for me. Speaking of just play your guitars, I'm trying Travis picking for the first time. It's fun. That's awesome. Is jaw wiggling while soloing a disease? Is it fixable? I don't think so. Wiggle? I don't wiggle. My head shakes. Oh my god! I noticed this. You guys are gonna notice it now because I'm gonna point it out. I noticed it and I can't unsee it whenever I'm editing. There's one riff I play. I'm not gonna play the riff because then you're gonna find it. It pops up in videos now and again, but it's a funk riff. Whenever I slide down into the minor ninth, and whenever I hit that slide and I give it a little bit of oomph for the vibrato on the actual the fretting hand, my head shakes every time. I'm shaking with my hand. I never knew I did it until I watched myself, and I was just like, all right, I gotta stop doing that. And then I forgot about it, and I ended up playing a similar riff. And I'm watching it back, and I go, oh my god, I really do that every time I do that. Every time I play a funk chord and I land on that from a slide, my head shakes. Sometimes it's real quick, I'm like, other times I'm like, ugh. I don't do it on purpose, but we all have our funny mannerisms. What is the difference between a Johnny Marr Jag and a traditional Jag? One is the Johnny Marr. Everything electronically is different for the most part. Like four-way switch, four-way blade versus 3 independent sliders to pick your pickups, the option to put them in series. The Johnny Marr loses the rhythm circuit for 2 bright switches. Yeah, that's what a Jaguar needs, 2 bright switches. That's very smart. And very low output pickups. Not a fan. I know some people are. More power to you. The traditional Fender Jaguar, you get the rhythm circuit, which for whatever reason people complain, like, oh, the Jaguar is too bright. I don't want a Jaguar because it's too bright, but also I don't want the rhythm circuit. Come again? You know what the rhythm circuit's there for, right? My God. My God. And then you also have the strangle, which is very useful. Other people will say, I don't want the guitar any brighter. Okay, well, the Jaguar came with solutions to both of those things that you were complaining about. First, with the rhythm circuit, darken up the neck pickup tone. Sounds amazing with fuzz and with gain on it. Or if you just want to play straight up jazz, sounds great. Also, could work for some other stuff too, but really, those are the main purposes for the rhythm circuit. What the strangle allows you to do is get awesome country tones, believe it or not. But really, where it became a staple was in surf music. So what people would do is they would they'd put the strangle on, which is a filter, and they would have both pickups engaged. So you're getting rid of even more low-end frequencies. It is like an instant mix switch on the guitar. It sits perfectly with the drums and the bass. Now, if you just sit in your room and you play it isolated by itself, you're going to be like, that doesn't sound good. But a lot of sounds that you'll hear in a room just with a guitar by itself, you might think don't sound good. In a recording situation, that's the sound you want because the frequencies aren't overlapping with other frequencies of other instruments. The Jaguar was designed perfectly as is. The only thing you could maybe argue that the original Jaguars could have had an improvement on was a stay trem bridge. That's about it. Everything else is perfect. I see no reason to change anything else. That's just me. I could rant about this for days. Stop this. Oh my God, this thing's really aggressive. Hey Rex, how are you, man? Rex, I got you sent the picture, but I can't see the picture. It just shows like when an image shows up and it's just like the mountain with like a slash through it, so the image cannot be loaded. So if you want to send me that again, I know you sent me a picture. I don't know what it was. Was it the Yamaha? I know he got a new Yamaha Japanese guitar. He's very impressed with it. All right, I made you laugh. There you go. You love the rhythm circuit on the Jazzmaster. On the Jazzmaster, it's really useful too. But on the Jaguar, it's like it's necessary because it's just so much brighter, and it makes it like. You have to remember that guitar was designed as the ultimate Fender guitar. That was the top of the line. That was more expensive than Jazzmaster, the Jaguar. They tried to think of everything they could with it. And in my opinion, it was a perfect success. Just, took some people time to figure it out, that it wasn't mainly supposed to be a jazz guitar. They could do other things. You're interested to change the pickups on the Strat first and foremost. The Telemod is something you want to do. Shifted into new territory. Well, it is so much fun. It is so much fun modding stuff. And there's so many great pickup manufacturers out there. I hope you all have fun with it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's going to be where we call it today. It's almost 1:30. So despite the fact that we did go off a little longer than normal, we started a little late. So, thank you all for hanging out today. There was a lot of people in here at one point. You all have my sincere gratitude. There'll be at least 2 more videos before the next stream. I'm at least consistent with that at this point. And we'll see when they come. But that's it for today. Thank you all. I love you all. Questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comment section down below. Take it easy. Bye, Dale. Thank you.